All right, now let's go ahead and test your scripting ability right now. Uh, well, but let me explain what we will be doing right now. You just get, and everything you will do for this script, like the script that you will write, will be the commands that you will have in it will be stuff that you've already done. So it's not going to be anything that you have to go to Google and start Googling stuff. It's just around everything we've done right now. So um, I just want to show you. I've already put that right there on the week 25. So what the script I want us to write, this is it right here. So I want us to write a script. So this is like a quiz. Write a bash shell script to prevent, simply right there, the 2 doesn't show up right, to prevent multiple login sessions in a Solaris server. So if a user tries to log in multiple times, the script should notify the user about the multiple sessions and end the session. Now, let me give you a background on this. This is a script that's set up to implement security. So if I just do W right here, okay, you see that I have 2 sessions of students running. You see that? So this is student, 1 session, and another session of student. And this is at work. They don't want this because usually, let's just say I logged in a student at my desk and I'm sitting there. That's my office. And then I'm out there at the finance department and I'm trying to troubleshoot something. Then I log in from party at the finance department and log in the second time. And then I forget to log out. Then I have 2 sessions currently running, and that poses a security problem. So at work, sometimes they will say you cannot log in twice. So you cannot have 2 sessions running at the same time. So now they can set up security in the server to prevent you from doing this, so that if you've already logged in once in your office and so you go to the finance department and then try to log in again, it should now prevent you from doing that. It should prevent you from doing that. It should say, well, you already have an active session, or you've already logged in to the system and you cannot have multiple sessions. So the server will tell you that you already have multiple sessions running, and it will say now your session is being terminated. So I've set this up in Solaris, and if you notice, I'm already logged in as student in my Solaris server. See that? Now if I try to, and again, remember, once you do this, users log in from party remotely. So you want to make it in such a way that every time a user logs in from party, that security rule is enforced. So I have the script set up and it is enforcing that rule, that security rule. So I will try to log in again as student and then see what happens, right? Because I already have this active student session running. So just imagine that this is me. I've logged into the system from my office, and I'm at the finance department and I'm trying to log into that same server again as student. Let's see what will happen if that script is working right. And this is exactly how your server should behave if everything works right. Okay, now watch this. I'm gonna log in, put in student right there, right? So I'll put student right there, and I will now, remember, I already have this session, so I'm expecting the script to kick me out. And then the script should say stuff to me so I understand what's going on. So I'll just enter school 1. Now let me enlarge this so you see exactly what's happening. You see it right? Let me change and enlarge it. And that's exactly how you want your script to behave as well. All right, so just watch this. Now when I press enter, look at what's going on. This properties, okay, this is a multiple sessions detected for students. So that's the script actually telling me that. Terminating your session. See that? Then it goes away. So it will not allow me to log in again as student as long as I have 1 session up and running. Now let's try another account. Let me cut its password and look at another account that we have here, and you try to use that to log in. So let's use JCruise. Now JCruise is not logged into the system yet. So let's see if the script is going to let JCruise log in. because again, jcruise will be logging in for the very first time. All right, so 203. All right, so jcruise school 1 done. Well, script doesn't have a problem with jcruise because this is the first time jcruise is logging into the system. Now, if I go back and check, if I do a W, you see now jcruise has 1 session running. So jcruise is in there. But now let me try to log in the second time again as jcruise and see what happens. So I'm just gonna open up another party session right here, and I'll try to log in as jcruise again. jcruise school 1. Look at what's happening. Multiple sessions detected for jcruise. Terminating your session. And it will close the party session and done. See? So only 1 session. Now, if I did not have that script enforcing security, then jcruise would have been able to log in. Then I'll have 2 jcruise sessions in here. So that is the script that you want to write. You want to write that same script to make your server behave exactly like this. I know Mr. Tafa is saying, you bring it on. I can get this thing done, right? Peter and was all sitting there saying, well, I got it. So, but look, this whole thing should exclude root. We don't want to prevent root from logging in multiple times. So your script must have somewhere in there that says root is exempted from this whole setup. This script is a script that you can write. You have all of the tools to write this script. All of the tools. So go ahead, take your time, try to write it, then I'll come back and we'll go over it together. And I'll show you my own script. The same script that made that server behave like that. And I'll show you the script and I'll give you the script. All right? But I want to have you, then you compare my script with your script and see if you got it. All right, so take your time and go ahead and do it. Okay, guys, so if you're not done yet, let me just go ahead and get done though. Let's go ahead and do it. Now you've tried your best. All right, now let's go ahead and look at the script. Now I will analyze the script. You know, I will, when I give you this, it's a very short script. It's not complicated, but you know, it's something that you will look at and you'll be like, no kidding. All right, so so it says that we should write this script. It's going to be a security script, right, that will prevent multiple logins. So it prevents multiple logins, and so which means that we write the script and the script is enforced in one way or the other. Now, if this script has to do with logins, where are we going to put this script to be executed?
It's profile.
Site profile.
It will be in the site profile. That's point number 1. The site profile has to execute the script. Now, so how would the script look like? Now let me give you the analysis. All right, so I'll go to my because now when you write scripts, the easiest way to be able to write a good script is to test your commands on the system before you put them in your script, right? So that's what I do when I write my scripts. I always have a console or a prompt, and I'm testing my commands and making sure that they work before I put it in the script. All right, so now we want to write a script to prevent multiple logins. So now you're sitting there, you're thinking, all right, now what do I do? What command do I use to display logins to the server anyhow? So what commands would display the users that are logged into the system? What commands are we talking about? Okay, now we talk about W. All right, so now if I use W, right? If I use W, then it displays the number of, it displays the users login, not really the number, but just the users log into the system. So you can see the different users log in. So now what do I do? Now I know that W displays the users login, but if I want a command to isolate the users, right? You isolate the user, because again, once you log in as a specific user, that script has to act on that specific user, not any other user. So how do I get my script to identify the user that's logging into the system? What command will help me do that?
Grep.
No, well, the command login, or I'm sorry, not login, log name, right? So if I use log name tells me who's currently logged into the system. You see that? Okay, now let's let's again look at this. So now log name tells me who is logged into the system. And now, and I already know also that W will show me the users that are logging. So if, you know, right now you can see right here, log name says that root is logging. Now, but W will tell me how many times root is logging. So here, root has one session. See that one session right there. Because I can see it right here. Now, can I get the system to give me this in number format? Yes, I can. Now watch this. I can do W, then I pipe this into the grep command, and I tell the system to tell me how many times root is logged into the system. That's a simple command right there. The system will tell me that's just one time. See that? So W, I grab the output of W, which is this right here, and I say grab root out of it, and it gets just one line of root. Now, if root was logged in twice, then I'll have 2 lines of root, and it will say root is logged in twice. Now, let me go to the Linux server and do the same thing, so that I want to show you the option for twice. So I have student login twice right here, and if I do the same thing, W, and I pipe that into, I grab student out of it, take that output, send it, and grab student, then I count it. It says student is logging twice. You can see right there, student is logging twice, and it says it. Okay, now, but your script cannot have student in it, because then what if it's J Smith that logged in? Then the script will not be able to figure it out. So if I, instead of doing student, if I replace student with backtick log name, backtick, then it still picks it up. So now what it's doing right here is that it is now going to the system and figuring out that it is student that's logged in, and it tells me that I have 2 sessions, 2 login sessions of student. This is it right here. So now if I was, let's say I set this up to look like this. Any user that logs in, it doesn't matter if it's student, root, or JSmith or whatever, log name will be able to pick the login name of that user from the system and check it against this W command. So that's how this becomes a variable. All right, so now what we're doing here is we're trying to figure out how to structure the command to get a number, and there's a reason I'm trying to get a number. How many times is student logged in? Because if I do log name right here, it says student is the one that's logged in, but how many times? The W helps me out. W, I get the output, shows that student has 2 sessions running. I grab student out of it, and then what count? It says I have 2 sessions for student running. This is the main statement in that script, this statement right here. All right, now look at what I'll do with this statement, right? So I'll grab that statement and I'll use it in my script. So I want that statement to be right there, because I already know that this statement is able to tell me how many sessions a user has in the system, right? How many login sessions, this very statement. It doesn't matter what users log into the prompt. This statement right here would tell me the number of times that users logged into the system. But how do I use this? Because just by it telling me, it doesn't help, you know. So I can now create a variable, right? For example, call y, and I can make the value of that variable. In fact, I can make this to be the value of that variable. Something like that, right? Remember, you can do things like this. So I'll do this and I will show you how this works in the system, because like I said, when you write a script, you can test everything before you put it in the script. So I want the value of this whole command to be the output of this whole command to be the value of y, just y as a variable. So let me go test it in the system so you see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to go to the system again. Let's put it right here. And I will, see that's the command right here. If I press enter, see it gives me 2. But now if I make this whole thing, right, if I make this to, if I get the output and make it the value of that variable, see that? So when I press enter, see nothing shows up. Now nothing shows up because now y is equal to the value of this entire command, which is 2. So now if I do echo $y, the answer is 2. See that? All right, this is very important. All right, so let's look at what we will do with this. So now it doesn't matter what user logs in. If the users log in once, then I'll get a value of 1 and y will be equal to 1. If the users log in twice, I'll get a value of 2 and y will be equal to 2. Then, now remember, this is going to be in my script. So this will be the first line of my script. All right, so I've collected a value for this variable, and that's what I really need. Then the next line will be if, right? Watch this. The next line will be if, then I'll do a test condition. If the value of $y is greater than 1. Does it make sense now to you? If the value of this whole thing, so which means if student is logged in more than 1 time, then echo multiple logins detected for, just say, for $login, actually for yes, multiple login detected for $login.
Log name.
I mean log name, I'm sorry.
Yes.
So multiple logins detected for $log. So whatever log name it is, if it's student, say multiple logins detected for student, right? Because of this condition, this has checked against this whole thing. I don't want student to be logged in multiple times or any other user. It doesn't matter. It could be student, it could be JSmith, it could be root, whatever. But look, this statement right here, right now as it is, I haven't excluded root from it. And that's a problem. So I want root. Now, if I was to exclude root from this whole thing, if I don't want root to be involved in this whole thing, what should I do? I can add something to this to exclude root out of it. Well, I can take this entire output from W and I can remove root from it. And then I pipe it now into this. So I'm saying that grab the entire output from W. And if root is in there, take root out. And then pass the rest of the output to this one to now take out the user that's currently logging. So if it was root that was logging, then it will not affect root because root will never be in this whole mix. It will take the root account out. Then count the output of whoever is logged in, but make sure root is not involved. So if it was root, then this whole output will come to 0 and this whole thing will not even work, right? So then it will not prevent root from logging in. So this is how you exclude root from the entire equation right there. So now if student has logged in twice, right? So if, let's say the value of y, let's just say student logged in twice and the value of this was 2, then it will be like, is 2 greater than 1? Then that's a positive, yes. Then this will happen. Then echo multiple login detected for, now let's just say student, and then I can right there, if I want, I usually will do sleep so that you can take your time to read it. Then I'll say echo your session will be terminated. And so you do something like that, right? Your session will be terminated. And so you can just do a sleep again for 5 seconds so that the users reach that before the termination takes place. And then you just terminate it. This is it. Exit is the command that will kill the entire session. It will just close party. And then you just end it with an FI. And this is it. This is the entire script. How many of you came close?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I was thinking the $log name. Did you create a variable for
No, this is a system variable. Remember the log name command?
I was thinking you would do something like y then $bracket login, then you now do $y or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's what we need. In fact, we have to put this in quotes, or we can put this in backticks. He's absolutely right. If we put it like this, it might not execute. So yeah, you have to, because this is a command. So that's right. So change that to it. So now we gotta copy this now and put it inside of our HC profile, right? Let me just dump it in your class website. I already have it in my HC profile because I had written the script before. So I'm just gonna show you. It's already there. So let me cut HC profile right here before I put this inside of your class website. So cat HC profile. All right, you can see right there, that's it. All right, so this one will be for you to write a multi-platform script. So the script should be, so write a multi-platform bash shell script to do hardware inventory on a Linux and Solaris server. I think this one will be easier, right? The script should be able to run on a Linux and Solaris platform. So which means it's going to be one script, but you'll be able to run that script, the same script that you will write on a Linux server, and be able to run the same script on a Solaris server, the same one script. Now the script, it should be able to detect and display the operating system type before proceeding to display the hardware inventory of the system, which will include RAM size, CPU make and model, and speed, and operating system hard drive size. So which means you can actually write a script like this to just do inventory for you at work, right? Now let me run the script. I have the script written in my systems, and I want to run the script in both platforms, and you see what happens so that you have an idea of what you are expecting. All right, so yes, inv.sc. All right, now watch this. Detecting operating system. See how the script is behaving? So it's going to detect my operating system. Now this is a Solaris operating system. Let's see if this script will detect it. Okay, it detected it. Look at that, Oracle Solaris 10. And let's see what else it will say. Displaying hardware specs for this system. Now this is the script. RAM size detected. Now let's see what it is. That's it. It's 1500 megabytes, 1.5 gig. And then CPU make and model and speed detected. Let's see what will show up. The script figured it out. It's Intel Core i7 with a speed of 3 gigahertz. It's detecting the operating system drive size, and it got it. So it's 32.21 gigabyte. So the script, just running the script in Solaris, was able to pull up all of this inventory information. I don't have to type the commands. It just figured it out. All right, now let me run the same script, same thing in Linux, the same script. And I think it's the same inventory. This is it right here. Let me run the same script and you see what happens. This is the same script, right? Inventory.sc. All right, detecting operating system type. Let's see, it's going to figure out if it's a Linux system. It's the same script. Operating system detected. Let's see. CentOS Linux release 7.7. So it detected that. Displaying hardware specs for this system. All right, RAM size detected. Let's see what happens. That's it. It just displays the RAM, which is about 1.8 gigabytes. CPU maker model, speed detected. Let's see. That's it. Intel Core TM i5, 2.7 gigahertz. Operating system hard drive size detected. And you can see it's 53.7 megabytes. I think Mr. Tafa can write the script. He's already. Can you do it? So what do you all think? It's straight up, what isn't it? That's right. Bertin is saying, well, yeah, I can get it. Okay, now take your time and write the script. Now let me put the output so you can see, because you just by looking at the output will help you structure your script as well. So write your script. It's one script that did all of this, one script only. The script can run, so which means the script is smart. It can detect if a server is Linux or if a server is Unix. And if the server is a Unix server, then it runs the inventory command for a Unix server. And if the script is a Linux server, then it runs the inventory commands of a Linux server and not the. So the script can detect. So if that server is Linux, it will run the inventory commands for Linux. And if it detects that that server is Unix, then it runs the inventory commands for Unix. It's just the same along the same line that you guys have been working with. So just do the script, and this is a very powerful script to use in an interview. All right, guys. Hello. How's the script coming?
Good.
Good. Are you anything close to what you see on the screen right now? Anybody?
Yes,
Oh, great.
I got almost the same.
Almost there.
Yeah, I got the same, just except for one line.
Okay.
LSCPU. Looks like your command was different for that.
Okay. So, and this is a very good script for the interview and something that you can use at work, because again, you can get a job where part of your task at work is to perform hardware inventory on systems, and this script will be a very good script for you to be able to have to just automate your job and just make things easy for you. Well, so this is my script. Like if you saw everything that happened, this is it. So the script starts with this is just a simple echo detecting operating system. Sleeps for 5 seconds so that you can see what's going on, and then now we get into an if then else statement. So we say, now this is my test condition right here, and again the first part of the script is for the Linux operating system. So it says if test, you see that? Now you name, now the reason it shows like this, now let me just, I will go to the system and just also type the command so that you see what happens. And every time before you put your command, you can always test it. Now this command is to help the script figure out if the system is Linux, right? So if we look at the command itself, if I just do a uname -a, this is what it shows me. But I see Linux here, right? So which means there's a Linux in here. But if you notice, I adjusted the command to grab just the line for Linux, grab Linux. So that's what I did with this command. And it was able to get this line that has Linux right there at the beginning. But now I sent the entire output to def new, which means I didn't want this whole thing to be displayed on the screen when the script executes. Now, so this is a positive. Now, if the system tests this, right, I'm saying this is what I'm telling the script. So if the script tests the statement and it's positive, then it will now run this whole thing right here. These are the inventory commands for Linux, right? The whole thing all the way to right down here. So it runs it all the way to here. So if this condition is positive, which means if there's an output, then it should now, the script will now know that it's a Linux system, and then it will run this part of the script that has Linux commands to inventory the system. And you can see right here, it says then echo operating system detected, sleep 5 seconds, then cat. You see that? This is what I did to display the Linux distribution. Now, while we're looking at that, let me just run the script again close to this so that you can get this part of it. All right, so now if I run the script again, all right, just watch this. All right, you can see that's the first echo just showing right there. This is it, this one. Then it sleeps for 5 seconds right here. Then you will see the first if statement. So it's going to text if it's Linux. So now it has, let me end the script right here. All right, so I just did Control C and the script stopped. All right, so now at this point, it has tested this condition and it knows it's a Linux system because this condition is now positive. It ran this, and then if it's a positive statement, then it started doing this one. See that? Operating system detected, and then it waited for 5 seconds, and then this is the output of this line. That's what we're seeing right there, right here. And it's going to sleep for 5 seconds, and then it will just run the regular Linux commands to display RAM, right? You can see displaying hardware specs for this system, sleep 5 seconds, echo RAM size detected. Then I just did, this is what I did. Now your command, see what I was trying to do was to limit the output that I get. I don't want a whole lot of stuff showing up on the screen. So if I run this command right here and press enter, look at what shows up. So this, I had to, so, well, it's the same stuff that you've seen before. So this is what the command will display from the script. And it sleep 5 seconds, and then it just runs the command that you know in your inventory command, but also limits it so that it displays just exactly what I want. See that? So now you can see it usually it will run cat proc CPU. The output of cat proc CPU info, it has a lot of stuff, but then if you notice, I grab a specific line that has the information that I really need. So if you notice, I'm grabbing this, and it just displays the line that I need. If I did not grab this, then I'll get all of that information. It's a lot of stuff that I'll get, but I just grabbed this out of it, and you see it just gives me the line that I need. Hard drive, same thing that we've seen before. So I just do fthis-l, right? Standard fthis-l. It's supposed to display a lot of information, but I try to limit it by just telling it to display just the line that has root, which, because again, the script says that you should display the line just the size of the operating system disk. So you will see right here, grab root out of it just to limit the information that will display. You can see right there, so I get just that line shows up, and that's the line for the root operating system, for the operating system. So it just displays the disk stuff that I'm just adding a few things using the same commands that you all know, but stuff that you probably will not just think about it like that. You see that? So you can see, so now again, it's an if then else, if then. Look, so if this condition is true, which it was true, so for Linux this will be true for Linux, then it will run. Once it runs, now every time a condition is true, the script runs and then ends there. It doesn't continue. So if this is true, then it will just run everything and it will end right here at the bottom, and it will stop right there. That's for Linux. All right, now once I run this script in Solaris, right, what happens here is that it tests this condition right here, and it is false. So this condition is negative in Solaris. So if this condition is negative, then it will skip the entire then part. So it just keeps this whole part of the script, everything all the way to this point. And then it comes down here, and then it will test the elif statement. It's looking for a positive. If it gets a positive, then it runs the then option of that positive condition. But if it's negative, it skips the then option of that negative condition. So here, if we were in a Solaris server, let's go to a Solaris server right here, and let me show you. So now, since if I run this in Solaris, then the condition, the Linux side of it is negative. That's the one at the top, and that part is skipped completely. Let me run that again. So this is Solaris right here, and I'm running the script. Now look at this. So it runs at this point. Let me end the script right here. Operating system. So it says detecting operating system. So it's starting right here at the top, right? Script. Every time you run a script, it always starts at the very top. So it runs this part, and then it tests this condition. See right here, it's saying grab Linux. So once it grabs, because in Solaris, once we do uname-a, let me show you what shows up. So uname-a, that's what we get. Now, if you notice, look at this command right here. Now, if I just type a command like this in Solaris, I will not get a response. So that will be negative, right? So let me go to Solaris right there. That's not what I want. All right, so if I come here to Solaris and I just type this, nothing shows up. See that? Nothing. So that's a negative output. No output. So this was executed in the Solaris server. So there was a negative output. Then it skipped this whole then option, and it tested it. It then came now to the elif side of things and tested the statement. Now, so in Solaris, it will test that statement, and it's looking for a positive. Like I said, if it sees a positive, it will now execute the then option. Now let's see if we get a positive right here. Right? So if we do uname-a, of course that's a positive, but we also I went further to grab. Now if you notice, Sun operating system, remember when we did inventory commands and I said to know if an operating system is Solaris, you will see you do uname-a. Sun OS just means Solaris. So if you notice in this command, I'm grabbing Sun OS out of it. So Sun OS, and I'm getting a positive output. So now that this is positive, then the then option will be executed. See? So here it's Solaris. So now this is the part of the script that can now distinguish between a Linux server and a Unix server. So in my script, I'm sitting there saying, now what condition can I put in here for this script to be able to know if this server is Linux or to know if it's Unix. So this was the best option, right? So if it's Linux, then this will be positive, and if this is positive, then it runs the whole thing. Now if it's negative, it skips it all the way to elif, and then it runs here. Now if it's Solaris, this will be positive. Now if it's Solaris, this will be positive. The first part of it will be negative, and then it will run this entire then option and will run the entire script, right? And that's exactly what is happening here. But let me run the script again. Okay, remember this is Solaris. Let's run the script so you can see right here. So it is running the first line of the script, sleeping for 5 seconds. So it has already skipped to the elif option right now. This is the elif option. So you can see this is the first command in elif after the elif option. So this is the first command. So it's checking out, it's running the Solaris commands now. It has completely skipped the Linux commands at the very top. It's now running the Solaris commands because it detected a positive right there. So you can see it getting the specs for Solaris, and it's just running these commands right here. Now it's at this command, right? This is where it is, right here. It just executed this one to display this. So this is the command that was executed to get this line right here, this one. So if you notice, I am trying to streamline the command to give me just what I need, because PSR info-PV displays a whole bunch of information, but the critical information that I need about the processor is at the very bottom. So that's why I had to tail the output to get just that line. And then if you notice, I did the same thing for IOStat for Solaris to display the size of the disk. I did IOStat-en, but you know it would display a lot of information, but I just did grep size. And when I did grep size, I was able to get this one line, but then I said the line for the disk that I need is at the very top, which is the operating system disk, and I just did head-1 to get just that line. Now, if you notice, there are three conditions here: if, elif, and else. Now, the else option usually we will never probably have to use it, but if you notice, for my else option, echo, this system is not running a Solaris or Linux operating system, right? So if the first condition, if the system is not a Linux system, if it's not a Solaris system, then it must be some other operating system. That's why I have this else at the very bottom. So this script is actually checking for three conditions. Is it a Linux server, or is it a Solaris server, or is it some other kind of server? See that? So that's what's going on here. So execute the script. Now, for you to understand the script is to execute it and study the output. So execute the script, look at the output of the script again, and then go back to the script itself. Check each part. When you look at an output, go to the script and see how that output was produced from the script. How did the output that is displayed here, what part of the script produced it? Then try to play with it. Type the commands from within the script by yourself. Type the command and see in the system and see what happens. Then you can now adjust the commands to get other output. That's how people that are very good in scripting, it's nothing, it's the same commands, but it's just that they look at it. It's like a work of art, and they try to see how they can adjust the commands to get exactly what they need. Just like you've seen how I use commands that you already know, but look at what I'm doing with it. Using other stuff that you know to streamline the command to get exactly what I need, right? See, that's me streamlining the command. And the reason I have this right here is because I have already gone to my system. When I was trying to figure out what command to put in here to get hard drive information, I know it's IOStat-en, and I typed that in my computer, and I saw the output, and I said, well, it's a lot of information. I just want to get this exact information that I need. I said, what can I do with this output to get just what I need? Then that's when I came up with this. I said, well, if I grab size, it will show me just a line for the size for the different disk, but then I want the first line that has the information that I need. So that's really how it is. And you can use the same script and then modify it again to get something else out of it. You can sit there and you say, okay, well, wow, this is cool. And then you say, well, let me modify the script to add to make it also do the operating system inventory, maybe network inventory. I want it to display the host name, the IP address, default gateway, and all of that. DNS information. You can add that to the same script. So if I were you, this week I'll say, okay, well, let me add the script. Let me make it display the rest of the other stuff. And then I have a complete script. It displays hardware inventory, networking inventory, and maybe other things like operating system, more stuff. So you have one script that displays everything, that just does a complete inventory of your system.